Toastmaster. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm kind of a big deal. I'm here today to talk to you about what makes this kid right here so sweet. So I'm going to talk to you about 3 different things today. First, where I'm from and what school I attended. Next, I'll talk to you about my personal life, what I like to do outside of school and work. And last, I'll talk to you a little about my work life and what brought me down to Tampa. At the end of the speech, hopefully you'll have a better understanding of who I am. So first, I'd like to talk about where I'm from and what school I attended. I say I'm from Georgia. Technically, I was born in Wichita, Kansas, but I moved to Georgia when I was 2 months old, so I'm from Georgia. Basically from Atlanta, a northeast suburb called Gwinnett County, about 20 minutes northeast. So I'm basically from Atlanta. I attended 2 schools in Atlanta, Georgia, Georgia State and Georgia Tech, which I'll get to in a minute. But first, I moved around Gwinnett a lot. I'm a child of divorce, so I moved around a lot because of that. The hardest one was my last move in high school. I moved my senior year of high school and had to find a whole bunch of new friends and people that had known each other for 10 plus years or whatever it was. So it was a little difficult for me to find friends that last year. But it was a good experience for me because I actually found some of my best friends that I still stay in touch with to this day. It was a really good experience. So after high school, I went to college, the logical path, right? So I started out with Georgia State. It was kind of the easier college to get into, studying computer science. And I was there for a few years, but it was a little too easy for me, because I'm so awesome. So a few of my classes, I committed a little bit of truancy. There was one class in particular that I skipped for an entire month. I stayed on top of my homework, I did the quizzes, made sure I was doing the readings, but it was just too easy. And the funny part about that was people were actually coming up to me, asking me for help on their homework assignments. So at that point I decided I need a bigger challenge in my life. So I decided to transfer to Georgia Tech, which is one of the better engineering schools in the country. And I was there for a few more years because I was working my way through college and didn't have too much time for it. But eventually I graduated. About a year ago, December 2012, finally got my bachelor's of computer science, and that was one of the best decisions I made because it brought me down to here. So that's a little bit about my personal life, where I'm from. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, born in Wichita, Kansas, and graduated from Georgia Tech. Next, I'd like to talk about my personal life, what I like to do outside of school and now work. So like any guy my age, I love video games. Who doesn't? I'm that big nerd that likes to play World of Warcraft, I'm that nerd, I'm that guy. I also like the other games, zombie games, first-person shooters, but those kind of normal things. In the real world though, I like to play pool or billiards. It's a great pastime to have. I was actually in a league back in Atlanta for a couple of years, played in a few tournaments, got really close to the national championship, but just barely missed it because of some technicalities. Unfortunate. But I played in a singles tournament by myself. It was called a Top Dog, and I actually placed 5th in my rank. So I was kind of proud of myself there. Some technicalities, longer story, I'll have to go over that another time maybe. And then, of course, the normal guy thing, go have a couple beers with your friends, right? Who doesn't love a good IPA? So that's kind of what I'm doing nowadays. But I've actually also been working out at the gym. Been kind of lame lately, go to work 8 hours a day, then go to the gym for about an hour, hour and a half, and go home, go to sleep. But it's good though, it's getting me in shape, losing that belly of mine. So that's a little bit about myself. Video games, pool, beer, and working out. It's good pastimes. So last, I'd like to talk about my jobs. What brought me down to Tampa? So when I was in high school, I got that stupid part-time job at Waffle House.
Oh.
It was awful. Busboy, did whatever was needed. I actually quit after 2 weeks because it was so terrible. A few years later, I started working for my dad. He owns a UPS store in suburbs of Atlanta. Just did the normal customer service, shipping boxes, packing stuff. But I was also kind of his IT manager as well. Fixed all the computers that he had there, saved him a boatload of money because I had a good technical background. He was a little sad to see me go to my next job, which was Best Buy. I think everybody should work a retail job because it is a soul-sucking environment, and you'll have a better love for people at that point. So at Best Buy, I was there for about 5 years. Half the time I worked the normal sales floor retail. I worked basically every single job you can think of. Cameras, TVs, computers. If you have a question, feel free to ask. After that, I was really good at the sales. I was one of the top salesmen that was there. But I needed another challenge, just kind of like in college. It was the same time frame. So I decided to move over to Geek Squad. I was one of the better repair technicians there. I was very quick at it. I was good with customer service. I'm pretty good at explaining those harder technical concepts that a lot of people just don't get. So much so that when I left for my internship at Verizon last year, my bosses kept calling me saying, will you come back? We need your help so much. Eventually I did go back because the internship was 11 weeks. So. But speaking of the internship, I worked at Verizon Wireless in Alpharetta, Georgia last year. I did mainly mobile development for them with a little bit of documentation work. I actually completed 5 projects in 11 weeks.
Wow.
They're kind of smaller projects, but I worked really hard, which is another reason why I'm so awesome. And I think that's the reason why I am in my current role, which is in the Verizon Leadership Program. VLDP is a 3-year program designed to give you those leadership skills similar to Toastmasters that will help you become one of the big wigs in the company eventually. So I'm in my first rotation. I moved down here about 6 months ago, and I'm working in the CFO IT team. I'm also doing mobile development, helping create the mobile infrastructure that the wireline side kind of lacks at the moment. And I'm pretty excited about that right now. So that's a little bit about my work life. Worked Waffle House, UPS Store, Best Buy, Geek Squad, and now Verizon. So now, you know a little bit more about myself. You know a little bit why I'm so awesome. And I talked about my school, personal life, and work life. And you know, I'm just awesome. Thank you.